I've been playing so much Destiny 2 over the last, I think it's been like 3 weeks now, 2.5 weeks. I've done nothing but play Destiny 2. Matty, you're on the show this week.
Yeah, I am.
You are. I don't want to introduce you again. Like you're kind of like a walk-on at this point.
Yeah.
You're kind of, you know how like old SNL would have like the same like 3 guests, and there's always guys you could tell, oh, okay, they just like having their own. Like I think Carlin was always hosting. Art Garfunkel hosted a lot in the 70s.
Yeah, it's just like they couldn't get anybody important this week, and so it's like, hey, you wanna be on? Oh, thank you.
You're important to me. But in the outline, I called you Master Gromo. Do you know who Master Gromo is?
Yeah, I have his Wookiepedia page open right now. Master Gromo, the master that taught Yoda. There's very little information on him, but I like beautiful. His vibe.
He looks like some weird. So this is an audio podcast. We're only going to show gameplay in the video version, so I'm not going to pull up a picture of Master Gromo. Go look up Master Gromo. He's like this weird.
Well, to be clear, this is Nikata del Goromo. There's other Gromos.
Do you want to try that again?
Gromo. Nikata Nkata Delgormo.
It's Gormo. I misspelled that.
Yeah, he's a high Salarian.
He's like a weird snake thing. And there's this great picture of him. He's got like 4 arms. He's like tall as hell. And then there's this incredible picture of like young Yoda with what I assume is hair.
Yeah, Yoda's got like a mohawk in this, right?
He looks like Mr. T from like.
Yes. And he's got a red robe on, which is pretty sick.
Low-key, that's pretty sick. We need what is it, like Respawn to make the Yoda
young Yoda
game, young Yoda, and then like let me play as Yoda, and then like have dialogue options, but they're all like written like in the way he speaks, so you don't know what to say because it's like, what the fuck, how am I supposed to make choices here?
Yoda with slicked back hair. He used to be a piece of shit.
There is a canon. Oh my god, hold up. He's canon. Gormo is canon because he was mentioned in a Mace Windu novel. If that was released in 2024,
the Glass Abyss. But he's also in Legends.
Yeah, Legends.
So that's this is like first recanonized.
I can't. I love it when they do that. It's like sometimes, but they pick the weirdest like guys to do it with, right? Like or are they kind of going some weird like half-ass? Why is Thrawn canon?
I don't know. That's one that like feels like, fan pandering. But this one specifically kind of does the thing I like with the Legends and the canon stuff, or like the meta narrative thing they tried to do when they made the EU Legends, where it's like, oh, these are like stories people tell around campfires, and like when they bring someone like Master Gormo back in, it's like, oh, okay, so there's like a little truth to it.
Gormo isn't a glub shitto. Like Gormo, I think is
your mom knows who Master Gormo is.
Everyone's mom knows Gormo. Gormo's gonna be in Mandalorian. What if Gormo's in Mandalorian Grogu and he trains Grogu?
I love the Wookiepedia page. Gormo height much taller than 0.66 meters. Thank you.
We talked about this a lot, but I love that you and I just sent each other before we recorded. You sent me a Wookiepedia link, and it's like, every time it's always beautiful. There's always something on Wookiepedia. It's like there's some deranged thing, either in Legends or canon. Legends is always obviously fun.
I like when like really basic things have a Wookiepedia page. Like someone like the Wookiepedia page for like breasts or something.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
No, we need this explained.
Yeah, because Star Wars fans don't know shit about that. Oh man. Anyway, no more Gormo talk. We gotta get serious. We gotta lock in. Oh man, it's been a week. It's been interesting. Like I said, I've been playing a lot of Destiny 2. I've been playing a lot of Destiny 2 with you. Mm-hmm. And it's been fun. Like I think this game, I can already sense like, yeah, there's like a little bit of a drought because I've kind of like caught up, quote unquote, right? I mean, still have a lot of game left, but as far as like the new stuff, I'm kind of in that loop of like, all right, what do I do now, right?
Yeah.
Like what's next for me?
We're in a weird transitional space too, where like with the portal being introduced, and this has happened a few times, like when they sunset stuff in Beyond Light, when they introduced crafting, where like they made a big paradigm shift to like the gear, and this is one of the bigger content structure shifts they've done. And so like the portal is like the shape, the general shape of what they want to do, but like they have yet to bring a lot of stuff back up to that level. So like you keep saying that you're getting sick of the loot pool, which it's pretty small. But when I go into the collections and stuff and look at the amount of stuff we have, it's like, oh, I can easily see how at some point they could just dump all this old gear into their own loot pools to encourage, like, oh, you want to go play the coil? We've got this loot pool here, and now it's been brought up with current perks and the tier system and stuff. And they already kind of announced they're doing that in June with Pantheon 2, which is like raid boss rush mode. And they said with that update, they're going to make every dungeon and every raid have armor sets with armor bonuses, which has been like surprisingly a very big like element of build crafting that has like really changed things there. And then all the weapons are going to become tiered weapons in the raids and dungeons, which that alone is going to be huge.
I guess my thing is like I'm in a weird spot because you and I have been playing so much that you've guided me through, like, I don't know why I'm stuttering so much. God damn Destiny 2. You kind of guided me through like a good chunk of like a lot of the campaigns that I've missed, and a lot of smaller elements like the intricacies of like building my character out and all this stuff. But I'm still in a place where it's like, okay, so what do I do, right? Like what's left? Do I go back and try to get older weapons that like I wouldn't be able to get like via any vendors? Do I replay campaigns just to kind of get the context of stuff? Do I try my hand at like old dungeons and raids? Do I keep playing Crucible, which is the equivalent of like closing a car door on my hand? Like what do I do now, right? Because I think so. What you and I are doing now is we're playing Edge of Fate because it's the last campaign I'm missing.
I think it's the only one. You haven't played Beyond Light either, I don't think, because you don't have Stasis, but that one's like kind of in the different. That one's like the old campaign model, but yeah, Edge of Fate was, I think, the last one in the newer.
Was that the one we
style.
started playing with my hunter, and then like the moon stuff like pissed me off because it was like that weird like kill X amount of guys?
That was Shadowkeep. Like, Beyond Light is the one that follows Shadowkeep, and it is in the same style of like, it's less like a mission to mission campaign and more like, oh, you go to the campaign is going to the portal, or not the portal, the patrol space, kind of learning that. And then like there are missions, but they're very truncated. They almost feel closer to like what you were seeing in Destiny 1 when we went back to that.
Oh my god, we started Destiny 1 too. I was talking about that last week. Fascinating game too, because it's like I see the bones of like what D2 would become, but technically, man, it is held back like so much. But the structure is like, it's really fun. I like the fact that like loot feels like disposable. Like I love that kind. I don't know. I just love it. Anyway, let's we'll talk more about Destiny 2 in a bit. What have you been up to? What have you been reading, playing? Like what's been your rotation lately? You and I talk about this all the time. It's just funny that we repeat ourselves to each other over and over again.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, not to just go right back to Destiny when you said we're moving on from it, but like Destiny kind of taught me that like that repetition of things. Like I feel like every time we talk about the same thing, we get kind of something new out of it, and it kind of like branches off. So that's been interesting. But I've been kind of busy the last 2 weeks at work, so I've been like very disengaged with most stuff. But I played an obscene amount of Starfield since that update dropped. What was that? It was like second week of April.
Yes.
Um,
No.
and
First. Yeah. Second. Second. Yes.
first or second, yeah. So yeah, Starfield was a game that I literally like from because I was a big Bethesda person. Like was on the all the hype trains for Fallout 4 when like all the hoax like ARGs were coming out and stuff, to the point where like one time I texted, or not texted, I I replied to like Pete Parsons on Twitter during some like hoax ARG, and I was like, just tell people if it's real or not. And he finally did. He responded to me and was basically like, I'm just saying no because I want to enjoy my weekend. And I felt really bad. So that was a good learning experience to not be that person. But yeah, Starfield, I was waiting for Starfield since the trademark was filed in like 2014, and like just obsessed over it. And then it came out and I was like, this sucks, I hate this, because it just didn't feel like a Bethesda game to me. Like I could see the boundaries of the bubbles, like the way that game's structured, where you know, when you land on a planet, you're landing on a couple kilometer square like tile set of that planet that's ran like kind of proc gen, and kind of knowing the underlying stuff really took me out of it. And I could see like, oh, when you get in your ship, that's a loading screen. It doesn't feel like traveling in the sense that you do in a Bethesda game. It felt much more kind of disparate and tedious. But and I don't even think the game structure has changed that much, but I think my mindset's changed enough that like I'm really into it now. The ship building stuff's been fun. I just built my first ship. It's massive, it's hideous, and I love it. And I'm pretty engaged in the story. The writing, I found, people kind of bag on Bethesda writing, me included, but this is the first time I felt like they're like kind of stretching their legs in terms of like they're getting to make their own world for the first time in 30 years. And I kind of like that, like there's an earnestness to a lot of the conversations. Like there's a lot of conversations about like religion and like spirituality in the context of science, and just like it's grounded in a way that like I was doing a quest the other day with my companion, who I was potentially still am planning to marry, Andrasia, who she's pretty cool, but then in the middle of this mission she's like, I got something to tell you. I'm a member of the snake cult and I am undercover. And I was like, whoa. And I already knew this. Like I had that spoiled, but like something about the intimacy of the conversation and the fact that it was framed as like, I trust you enough to let you in on this. I hope this doesn't change how you see me. Now let's go finish this mission together. It was like something about that felt really unique, even in Bethesda games where like usually companions I feel pretty disconnected from. So that's been cool. The outpost building, like I was a settlement sicko in Fallout 4, despite that system not really working with the rest of the game very well. I think it works really well here. So yeah, it's been fun to like kind of give it a second shot and find that, oh, it actually does work for me. And it's like I feel like I've barely scratched the surface, and I'm like 60 or 70 hours in.
6, 7. Anyway, I think my main thing, like it really does scratch that Bethesda itch. It's also cool for me to play like a new Bethesda game, like it's a new from the ground up for next gen like BGS like RPG. It kind of quenches that sort of like Fallout 3 remake like thirst for a little bit, because I'm like, oh, I'm playing a Fallout in space, right? Fallout 3 is like, I still want that. I'll that's like my most like anticipated quote whatever, like rumored or not. I haven't been playing it, as I said, like it's been freezing up on PS5. I'm waiting for.
It sounds like even that last patch did not fix it.
Yeah, I know. I think it broke almost. I think it almost broke the game on PS5 Pro also, which I don't have, but still, my God. Like it still keeps crashing.
What is your history with their games? You've played Fallout 3.
Fallout 3 I played on 360, but that was back when I did not have an Xbox One or a Series. Like I didn't have any next gen console, so I played it on 360 just fine. On a 4 GB 360, didn't install the game for like the loading or whatever. It was fine. Like I remember, like being okay with it. Skyrim I played on both 360 and PS3 at different points in my life, and then I remember when I got a PS4, I didn't get the PS4 version of Skyrim. I thought to myself, "Oh, I have it on PS3. I'll just go ahead and play it." Ran like absolute dog shit, like sub 30 frames, and I'm like, and again, I had just seen what like a lock 30 was. I'm like, no, I'm not going back. Never anything bad on any Bethesda game like ever. I've never had like the weird. For me, that's always been Ubisoft games. Like that's always been my experience. Like bugs and glitches and all that stuff. I'm trying to think. Never. This is the only one, and again, nothing else has happened in this game in like I want to say 7 or 8 hours. A little less than that, I think, that I played it. It's just those freezes. What it'll do is, I log in and it freezes up, and I'm like, I can't do anything until I like close the game, and it breaks the flow a little bit, right? And I'm like, I don't want to deal with this for like 10+ hours, or if I play for like a 2 or 3 hour session, like whatever. I'm enjoying it. I talked about it last week. I'm enjoying sort of like what it represents and what it feels like to play it. It feels like a modern Bethesda game with all its quirks and everything like that. And I've been kind of we talked about this. I've been searching for more Bethesda or like BioWare likes, those games that kind of emphasize like conversations, exploration, like RPG mechanics that aren't too overwhelming and that kind of encourage you to kind of build the way you want to play. I'm talking like Mass Effect 1, Fallout, Outer Worlds, Avowed, Cyberpunk kind of fits in that, like those kinds of games, right? So this is like the culmination of all that, and I love everything about it so far. But yeah, I just can't do anything about it right now. I can't do anything with it right now, and it bums me out. But I'm glad you're enjoying it, because I remember you and I have been talking about it forever, and I remember you were kind of cold on it. Like you were mixed. You were kind of going back and forth on.
I was straight up telling you like, don't get your hopes up, buddy. Yeah.
Like no, you told me, I'm not doing that again. I'm not going through this again. And I like that the closer we got, you kind of warmed up to it.
Yeah, the more I was watching stuff, I was like, oh yeah. It helps that the Artemis 2 mission was happening when it released, and so that kind of like hopeful optimism about space travel and like the NASA punk vibe really like hit me. And there's a lot of story stuff that's kind of, I've always felt like Bethesda writing is like a little, it's simultaneously cynical and too earnest and naive. And this story feels slightly naive, but also like hopeful in a way that I can kind of like vibe with. And they're also not doing the thing where it's like the world is going to end if you don't do the next mission, but also here's 30 things you could do. Like it feels like a game designed to just vibe in at your own pace. And even like narratively, they do like super big things that I won't spoil kind of like the big picture of it. But like once you get to the big picture and you kind of understand what they're doing, they do like narrative and mechanical things that kind of speak to the way people play Bethesda games and kind of ask you questions about like how you play these games and then how you live your life in an interesting way. That seems really cool and unique for them that I hope they keep doing in Elder Scrolls 6. I like before I played this update, I was like, I don't trust them with the Elder Scrolls 6, like Skyrim and like Fallout New Vegas and 4. Obviously New Vegas is Obsidian, but like their style of games are like some of my favorite. And Elder Scrolls 6 was like something I've been dying to see for years. But after the first round with Starfield, I was kind of like, I don't think I am going to get my hopes up. But now I'm a lot more hopeful that they are going to do interesting things with it, and that like the tech is in a good place for it and stuff.
I will say to a lot of people who still kind of bitch and moan about the engine, I still think it's like maybe one of the greatest like achievements in any video game to get all these moving parts working in interesting ways. Where what is it? If you drop like a box in a room, it stays there. It has its own physics. It moves realistically and everything. You can push it around, or you can carry things like that. Like I've always loved. They still do the thing where you can carry things and it kind of floats in front of you. Like I love. I was carrying a traffic cone on like a planet, and it was like this is the most fun I've ever had in the game. Like I like the kind of quirks that come with their engine.
Yeah, and it feels like with Starfield they've added a lot of layers that can, because like the thing I always heard people's like critique about that specific, like, oh, I like that every item is a physics object, every item, you know, is a thing you can interact with, was like, well, what is that in service of? And in Starfield it feels a lot more like they did it in Fallout 4 too, where like everything in Fallout 4 can be picked up and recycled in to be used in the settlement thing, and Starfield kind of keeps going with that, where like these objects don't feel like just like hollow set dressing with physics applied. It feels like there's like layers of things where as you learn what things do and what things are, it gives you more it just gives you like more agency and more of a place in the world in a way that like a lot of games don't do. And like I think even when they try to, they don't really hit it in the way that Bethesda games do, because they've been iterating on this engine for what, like 20 years now, 25 maybe.
Yeah, when was it? Morrowind,
I mean, it's
first?
like Creation. They're on Creation 2, which is Creation 1 was they first used in Skyrim. Before that, it was the Gamebryo engine,
yes,
which I think they've been using since Morrowind. But like Creation is basically like a new fork of Gamebryo, from what I understand. So it's pretty. It's kind of like the Call of Duty games, how like they're still using the old IW engine from like the original games, but they're like Ship of Theseus into, you know, a fundamentally basically a new thing.
You know, I a friend of mine told me that Bungie's still using the same engine from Halo.
Tiger engine's still trucking.
A good friend of mine told me that little factoid. And speaking of Bethesda, like, so you've been telling me about another game you've been playing that I've been super curious. It's another one we've talked about for like a while now, and I'm glad you're finally digging into it. Can you tell me a little bit about Tainted Grail?
Yeah, so I played 4 or 5 hours last night, and I was kind of hesitant because I heard it's a little janky and stuff, but like, and you know, janky is a very broad and nebulous term, but I was shocked when I started it up that like, no, it feels really solid, one, and two, it is the most Bethesda feeling game that's not made by Bethesda that I've ever played, in not in the broad sense, but in the details of like, there's like a very specific flow to playing those games where like you go into a room, you look around, you go, oh, what's here that I need? You pick up the object, it makes like a unique sound to that object, and then it like the way it disappears, like little details like that are what kind of give Bethesda games like a specific feeling to me. And Tainted Grail feels like it's really like trying hard to replicate that, but it's also like it's based on the King Arthur like mythos. And it's doing the thing that a lot of FromSoft games do, where like it's about like perpetual cycles playing out over and over and over again, and your character is kind of there to break the cycle. So King Arthur's dead, but people are trying to bring him back, and you get put in the mix somehow. And also there is, when I say Bloodborne, I don't mean it like, you know, it plays like Bloodborne, but in the narrative sense of like it starts as one thing, right? Mm-hmm. Like it starts as gothic horror or like medieval, but even in the beginning you get these hints that like, oh, this society is built on something much weirder and stranger and like more cosmic. Like I don't think this is a spoiler to say this because it's literally in the first dungeon. But you start the game in an asylum where people who are like have contracted the Red Death, which is basically like the plague that they left the homelands, as they call them, to escape. And the red priests there, they've been doing experiments on these people, and there's like a element of like religious euphoria to the Red Death. But at some point you come out into this like underground cavern, and there's these big statues that almost look like Grim Reapers that apparently Merlin used to end some war. But you find a note that calls him a charlatan, and it's like basically implies that Merlin claims he created these things, but we've discovered that they were here long before we ever got here. And then you find the tomb of King Arthur, and it is the most H.R. Geiger shit you have ever seen. Like, straight up looks like the inside of the ship in Alien.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and it very much feels like there's gonna be kind of an underlying like cosmic horror element to all of this, but then you get out into the open world and it becomes very medieval fantasy again. But it feels a lot like Elden Ring, like that feeling of walking around Limgrave, where it's like almost dreamlike in a way, and it feels like time almost doesn't exist, because it like the Avalon, I guess, is stuck in like perpetual autumn in this universe because of the broken cycle that's going on. And you get put in a kind of an interesting role-playing place where a fragment of King Arthur, his soul becomes embedded in you, and the guy that broke you out asks you like, so what did you find in there? And if you tell him, oh, I found King Arthur and I took a piece of his soul into you, he kills you. And then you wake up and he's like, sorry, man, I had to do it. I don't want that fucker to get resurrected. But King Arthur is still in your head, and he's like kind of broken, but he claims he doesn't remember anything. He's like, I left a prosperous kingdom. Why are things like this? And so you're kind of stuck in the middle of like seeing the results of his reign, and then having him in your head presenting his skewed version of events, which I'm excited to see where they go with that narratively. But yeah, it's really sick. Like incredible art style. The music is super cool. Like a lot of chants mixed with like rock guitar and stuff.
Oh, it's crazy.
Really good.
It's cool to see like a smaller scale version of like a Skyrim thing. Everyone always wants like the next Skyrim, but it's impossible to make a game not only that big, but that kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like that loop in Skyrim and this Bethesda games in general. It's like it's hard to replicate that sort of like, let's go into this like in this big open world, and then like a million different things will happen at once. And then like you're kind of like set for life. You never have to like play the main story of a Bethesda game. You can just keep going and just do a million different things. And it's cool that someone else is trying that, right?
Yeah, and it's like they're a fairly new studio, and it's clear that
Yes.
they don't have the biggest budget, but the level design so far has been clever in that like if you've played games for a long time and you look at it, it's like, okay, this is a pretty small space, but the way things are laid out make it feel much grander and make it feel more like you're exploring something with the scale of Skyrim.
And it's funny because the only other major Bethesda likes that are out there are like the Obsidian games, right? You know, Outer Worlds, Avowed, which I don't really count because they're close proximity with like Bethesda anyway. But it's funny that specific kind of game doesn't exist outside of like the main guys who are doing it. I don't know. It's just interesting to kind of think about. Anything else? You have a book I know you've been reading, and you want to like talk about it again. When we talked about it was just our text on
oh my god, me just texting you. I've just been texting CJ like pictures of the pages of the book when I find a passage, and I'm like, check this shit out. It's crazy. I'm reading When We Cease to Understand the World by Benjamin Labatut. He's a Chilean writer, and I found this book through a Jacob Geller video essay. Shout out to Jacob Geller, the GOAT. And it's like it's a very short book, but it's super dense because it is about it's ostensibly nonfiction, but they start rolling kind of more fictionalized like scenarios about these people in, but it's mostly about like 20th century scientists, people like Einstein, Heisenberg, trying to think of who else is mentioned, mostly like physicists and mathematicians, and them having these breakthroughs that like fundamentally changed the way we understand physics and astronomy and the universe and stuff like that, while they're also dealing with stuff like being on the front lines of World War One. Like the guy, I forget his name off the top of my head, but the guy that's basically solved Einstein's theory of relativity did it while he was fighting on the front lines of World War One.
Oh, that's crazy! What the fuck?
Like died. He died of some illness within a month or two of that. And there's a lot of moments in the book where they'll have these breakthroughs, but then they'll see in between the lines of what they've done kind of an outlier. Like for this guy, it was the singularity, and the math all pointed to the singularity. I think it's Schwarzschild. And so he started seeing it everywhere. And so he's coping both with the real world conditions of World War One, seeing German, like he was German, so he's seeing German soldiers start to become more desensitized to violence and do things that, you know, he at the beginning of the war he didn't think they would have done, and he's trying to reconcile his scientific findings with like human nature, and in a way he kind of projects that all out 10 years, and he's like, well, if this keeps going, this is what this country's going to become. And then the author ties that into World War II. A lot of these people are of Jewish descent, so there's a lot of kind of discussion of, you know, them doing this work in a climate that is like massively anti-Semitic, or, you know, the beginning of the Holocaust. Like the author pulls on all these like really interesting threads that don't seem to connect, like Prussian blue paint and cyanide gas, and he'll wrap them into like a really interesting narrative of brilliant people struggling to understand just like the basic structure of the world, because everything's going to hell around them, and like everything's moving so fast, and a lot of them have moments where it's like it's clear they're in mental crisis, and it's just interesting to see that juxtaposed with like really deep examinations of like physics and math, which I've always been terrible at, but this book simultaneously makes you feel really dumb but also really smart, and then in that you find this kind of comfort that, like, man, even the people who understand like quantum physics don't really understand the world. And like, so when you're in a place where it's like now where you look at the news and you're like, oh my god, what's happening, it's kind of interesting to look back at 100 years ago and be like, oh, people were having the same feelings then.
It's like
as
that that feeling like when you're a kid and you realize, oh yeah, adults are stupid.
Yeah
It's like that same feeling, right, where it's like my teachers are dumb, or the people I have to go like seek help from are all stupid. And you know, you kind of grow out of that, or you know, you realize that maybe you're the idiot too as you get older. But it's like, it is fascinating.
It's kind of humbling.
Has that same yeah, I am. I'm an old man now. What is it? Nah, just kidding. I'm always gonna be the smartest one in the room. I'm gonna be young forever. I'm gonna live forever. Yada yada, this and that.
Exactly.
But I got a copy.
I would definitely recognize.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I finally got my copy from the library, the public.
I'm so
library,
excited for you to read it.
Which you all should go support your local public libraries before the world ends.
Go get a library card. You can do cool things there.
You can do.
You can go to the Feminist Birding Book Club with a bunch of people that you've never met, and you'll have a great time. I guarantee it.
You can play Mario Kart with a bunch of kids and rage bait them
Because
you're
ban Yoshi.
ban Yoshi. These are all like inside jokes. Or what is it? Did I send you that ad I saw on Instagram with what's his name? I believe it's Calvin Johnson from the Florida Marlins.
I think you did, yeah.
Like an incredible old like Miami ad for advocating for library cards. Yeah, they're great, and I'm very excited to read this book because again, you've been sending me these passages, and it's like I can see what you're saying where it's like it could come off as both incomprehensible but yet accessible at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's such a fascinating like balance to try to hit right.
Yeah, like it contextualizes like big ideas that I've heard about for forever within these people's lives, and like in historical context. That's like, oh, okay, I can see like the metaphor for the discovery within this circumstance. And then inevitably I'm sending you these passages with Destiny lore passages where I'm like, hey, what does that sound like? Like we're talking about, like
the world's ending, and there's like so many things you could like pull from in literature, and as like the world is on fire, we're going to war again. Well, we got 2 weeks, right? We're fine. All this stuff's going on.
2 more weeks.
But everything goes back to Destiny 2. Everything is Destiny 2. Everything.
The game of life, man.
I that first episode we recorded, I don't know if it's just again like what we kind of like both said. No, it was the second episode I think that we basically called each other like sickos. Have we gotten worse since recording that episode?
I don't know if it's worse. I feel like I don't know. I think we jokingly talk about it in negative terms, and I'm sure there are negative aspects to it, but like I think we're just like
we're locked in.
We're just figuring out what we like. Like
I do have to stop being so cynical. I mean, it's all jokes. It's a good game. I like it. I'm having fun. It is kind of ruining my sleep.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And
that's partly my fault.
It's fine. Like I say that now, but I know the second you text me, I'll be like, "Yo, let's go. What are you talking about?" Yeah.
It's 1 a.m. and we just finished Edge of Fate, and you have to work tomorrow.
Yeah, you're right. No, I mean it's fine. Not only do I have to work, I have to get up at 5 to go to the gym. It is. I was thinking about it like it's not negative. We both enjoy it, but then I thought like, oh, I didn't play any yesterday, and I kind of felt like this weird itch to like log on and so I have to now. I got to make up for 2 whole days.
I've definitely been in that mode so many times with this game, and like I feel like where it's like it's obsessive. It is obsessive where it's like I gotta get on. I have nothing to do. There's nothing to run. But like during COVID, there were times where I would sit for hours and just build craft and make fashion. Not even running content, just like build craft, make fashion, log off. And I've hit a better place where I'm like, there's times where I'm like going hard at it, and then there's times where I step away. And when we get to your essential question later, I think that this will come up where it's like that contrast and that like ebb and flow has been kind of neat.
Yesterday at work during my lunch break, I was build crafting on Dim. That's how bad I've gotten. Like I'm at work fucking prepping for this.
Shout out to Dim.
Game. Shout out to Dim. Maybe the greatest app ever.
Yeah, Destiny Item Manager literally will change the way you play Destiny.
If you've never played this game, just download it. Have it on your phone. You never know when you're gonna need to pick a new subclass. And
literally, like at the beginning of a season, or when new content drops, and there's like new guns, new armor, there will be times where I'm just like going about my day, and I'm like, wait a second, what if you could do this with these 2 things? And how would that interact with this ability? And then I just like pull my phone out, put a build together, and I'm like, when I get home, I'm going to hit apply, and I'm going to run this build and see how it works.
Do you show your partner like your phone screen, like, hey, look,
no.
Look, I okay.
Not anymore. No, I learned my lesson.
You've learned your lesson. You've learned your lesson. Okay, I haven't gotten to that stage yet, right? Where I'm like, okay, so look, I managed to shift these things around. So melee is number one because I'm using a Titan now. I haven't gotten to that level.
Exactly.
Exactly. See, look, we're just locked in. It's not. There's nothing bad. There's nothing wrong with us. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem. I've already talked enough about Destiny 2. We'll talk about it like in the actual like main topic. If you want real sicko stuff, I've finished the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian. You were right. Those last couple episodes did make me very mad. I was like very upset. Oh my god. I talked
It's
about
bad.
It's astounding how like season 1 pretty good. Like a really solid like space western. And then season 2 starts off really good cuz the Timothy Oliphant episode's great. And him with the Boba Fett armor, that's such a cool idea. Frog Lady episode lost me. Both of them.
The funny thing about the Timothy Oliphant thing, that was set up in the Chuck Wendig trilogy, like interstitial trilogy, and it was literally just like one interstitial chapter about the Jawas like scavenging the armor and then selling it to that guy, and that was it. And then they didn't touch it until that episode.
That ruined my night. Anyway, that season 2 has some solid. I don't know what Ahsoka Tano is. I don't know what's a Bo Katan. What are these things like? Apparently,
you gotta watch Clone Wars.
Yeah. I know. At some point, I do. The episode where they introduce Ahsoka is solid. Like, it looks really cool. And then I texted you as soon as I stopped watching it. Like, as soon as it ended, because one line made me so mad, and it was Ahsoka asking, "Where's your leader? Where's Grand Admiral Thrawn?" And I'm like, who did they write this for? What nerds were cheering as soon as she dropped that line?
Let's go! I read those books.
I read those books when I was 11 years old. Let's go!
I know that guy. I think that's what frustrates me about. We joke about like Dave Filoni, but like it does seem to be the stuff that he's like most heavily involved in, where like that episode's really good, but the Ahsoka stuff is distracting because the it's like that Family Guy thing about The Godfather. Like it insists upon itself, where it's like they can't just like tell the story they want to tell. They also have to have this like metatextual framing of like, and do you remember the Clone Wars? Well, Ahsoka's here. And it's just like so distracting.
It feels cynical. It feels more cynical than us like bashing it, because it's like, what are they doing? Are they trying to sell toys? Okay, or are they trying to like kind of did Rise of Skywalker did Last Jedi kind of break everyone's brains, where it's like, okay, we got to make the fans happy. That's why we got to do 5 TV shows based on how many Clone Wars like characters or concepts or things. Like, is that what it is? That do we need to keep babying fans into trying to like and I will never forget, I was listening to Smartless, that podcast with Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, what's the other guy's name, the gay guy from Will and Grace, Sean.
I know the podcast you're talking about. I've never listened to it, but
it's as good as like any other celebrity led podcast, which means it's not. But they had some good guests. I used to listen to it like back in like 23, 24. They had Jon Favreau on, and I remember he mentioned, we want to bring everyone back. If you were a kid who watched the Clone Wars, when you were younger, this is we want to make sure you're included too. And I think that kind of sums up everything. It's like, this is meant for people my age who grew up watching, whose favorite movie is Revenge of the Sith, whose favorite thing is the Clone Wars, all of this stuff. And I think that's what kind of like turns me. I'm in a weird spot, right? I don't like the Disney like canon movies that much, but I don't hate Last Jedi like a lot of people do. But like I also don't love the prequels as much as like I think you and I are like, we've noticed this a lot, especially people our age. Like, they love the prequels. The prequels are now like the greatest things ever.
There's a bit of like historical revisionism, or just like nostalgia about like, man, the prequels I think it's are actually really amazing.
It's more so nostalgia, because you and I will talk about, the prequels actually have like a lot of like interesting stuff dealing with politics, and like, Lucas is like, he's not a great writer, but his mind like works in like some really interesting ways. But then they'll also have like, you know, racist accents and some of the worst CGI you've ever seen, and then, you know, I'll say it, Jar Jar's not a fun character. I if you tell me your favorite character in Star Wars is Jar Jar, I will assume that you're like fucking with me at that point, right?
I do find it the choice to make him like the deciding vote on giving Palpatine
That is pretty
like
funny.
emergency executive powers. Incredible, honestly.
Like, is that supposed to be like a wink to the audience? Like, hey, I know you hate this fucker. Let's give you a reason to.
It kind of feels like it because like episode 2 he's in like he's a senator by that point, I think, and he's in a couple scenes, but they really tone him down. And then in 3, pretty much the only thing he does is the thing that fucks everybody.
And he also was at Padme's funeral looking sad, which is one of the funniest frames ever. I think that is the funniest thing ever. Anyway, I'm in that spot where it's like, don't love the Disney stuff, really don't love the prequels. Empire Strikes Back is like the best. I'm like a boomer, I guess, in the sense that Star Wars to me is like a certain thing, and if they're gonna do something, they really got to swing for the fences. If they play it too safe, it's kind of dumb. But then if they do something that's wild and dumb, that's even worse. Like a lot of the stuff in Mandalorian, some weird. They make some weird choices. Why they keep drilling this into like, oh, Mandalorians are not supposed to like take their helmets off. Great, totally get that. Let's go. They find a million excuses to kind of take this dude's helmet off in ways where it just doesn't make sense. If he's devoted to his religion that much, like, I don't think the Muppet baby is gonna like change his mind that much. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just seems like some weird excuses. I get it. You're paying Pedro Pascal however much money. You gotta like show his face, especially now. But it's like, it's just annoying. They don't feel confident in their own thing. Anyway,
like specifically the last episode where Luke shows up.
Oh my god, they couldn't get another actor to just have his face. They couldn't do. They had to like CGI his face. Oh my god.
Yeah, I think this is like continually my issue with The Mandalorian and like all this stuff tied to it, like Ahsoka and stuff, where the obvious need to make people like do reaction videos or whatever, and this is probably like a really cynical read on it, but it's the way I've seen it play out, so I'll say it. But like the need to like make videos where people cry because Luke is showing up or whatever really undercuts the storytelling.
Like, it's that thing. Listen, like what you like, enjoy what you like. No one should make you feel bad, but understand, if you're gonna post yourself crying over the Rise of Skywalker trailer, you're gonna get some criticism, right? And I feel like that's the kind of turning point. That's where we are. That's where we're at right now. That video caused irreparable damage to like Star Wars as a brand, I think.
Well, and I think the Luke thing could have been cool.
Yes,
but they don't ever play anything out, because you're watching Book of Boba Fett right now. It's not a spoiler to tell you, in that they resolve the Grogu Luke thing, and by season 3 of The Mandalorian, Grogu and the Mandalorian are back together, and it's like, so what? Like it's like a fear there, and this is, I feel like this is through almost all of Star Wars, except for Andor, where there's like a fear to let things simmer and develop. It's like things need to be introduced and they need to be resolved, and that's it. That's as far as we can go with things. And like for something that is built on like like a mythological like telling of events, it feels completely counter to like that vibe of storytelling.
It's just so frustrating. Again, like, this is me getting back into Star Wars, right? And I think the formula for me was like, okay, let me avoid the movies and TV shows. Let me avoid talking to people about it, because I love Star Wars more than anything at this point. I've gotten back into like this franchise. This podcast is pretty much, I started it because I wanted to talk about Star Wars with like my friends. This is like, and Matty, you know that like I love this thing. Like, this is like a big thing. I was flown out to Los Angeles to play a Star Wars video game at like the height of me hating Star Wars. You know how big that is? Do you like that? It's that sort of thing where it's like, okay, this has continuously disappointed me, and I'm slowly kind of inching my way back, and then I'm remembering, oh yeah, I remembered why like I was so turned off by it. I'm getting a lot of the Rise of Skywalker like fatigue back. Like it's that sort of thing. Book of Boba Fett was fine. There are moments where it's like, and I finished the Mandalorian, the first Mandalorian episode of that, and which is stupid. Why did we focus? Whatever. And it's there's like moments of the show that are brilliant. Tamora Morrison's trying his hardest. You can tell he really wants to play this character. He's carrying this show.
Like, I do really like. I from what I remember, I really liked Book of Boba Fett for the most part. Like it's an interesting way to use that character. Kind of like I think it would be more interesting if they got to play it out past one season, but
or if the season was like they were doing. The thing is, you can tell like they want to do a million things with him, but I don't. How hard is it to like figure out a character who just is like there to aura farm and like kill people? We can't do anything cool with that.
Yeah, like him taking over Jabba's palace is pretty baller. I do like that element of it, and like the back to pod stuff where he's like healing up, him kind of trying to like wrangle Mos Eisley and make it like not as it's not like he's trying to like, get crime out of it, but it feels like he's kind of reckoning with his role in the criminal underworld and like, you know, let's make this place livable at least. Which is kind of an interesting place for him to go.
He's like he's matured in like an interesting way, right? Because like, what is it? He watched his dad die at the hands of the Jedi. He's been working with the Empire however long, like between the events of Revenge of the Sith all the way to like Empire or Jedi when he dies or when he gets pushed into the Starlight. Like all of this stuff is going on, and then now he's like older, wiser, and he's like it's like a mix of like he doesn't want to take any shit, but he's also kind of grown a little bit softer on a lot of things. This dude used to always work alone, do all this stuff. Now he's taken on what's her name, Fennec, and like they're both working together and like.
Well, the arc you brought up, the Tusken Raider arc, is like so good.
When him kind of like, what is it? He survives like being swallowed by the Sarlacc pit, and then he gets taken in by these Tusken Raiders. They kind of enslave him. But then he kills like this monster, saves one of their younglings, I guess, whatever. And they're like, okay, we're gonna train you. You're gonna be one of us now. And he
becomes a part of the tribe. It's sick.
And he's like he guarantees them like consistent like income and all. That. But again, they don't really dive into. They're introducing all these cool concepts, but they don't do anything with it. And they're just focusing on a lot. Again, it's the thing I don't like. They keep focusing on callbacks and everything like that. It just seems like I'm being pandered to. I don't need to be pandered to. I'm back by my own volition. I don't need to be pandered to. I know what I'm getting into.
Max Rebo did work on you though.
1,000%. I texted you a picture of my big beautiful blue elephant. I love him so much. And then immediately after they showed BD1 in live action, that shit pissed me off. That made me so mad. What time did I text you last night, the night before we recorded this? Like almost midnight. Angry. I'm like, oh fuck off. Book of Boba Fett.
Did you like the return of Bib Fortuna?
I was sick. But at the end of that Mandalorian episode where they tease Book of Boba Fett, that was sick. Where he's like freaked out because oh shit, what is it? Oh shit, Boba Fett, you're back, and he kills. Oh, it's so good. That's good. Like that's a good little thing. Him and
there's good beats like all throughout it. It's just as a whole, it kind of doesn't fully mesh.
I didn't need like a major like story or arc. This character doesn't need that. He just needs cool moments, right? Like in the old comics. The best things about the Boba Fett comics were no, he just shows up to do some cool shit, right? Like he's just kind of like there. I kind of wanted like a show about that, but I don't know. Yeah. The arc just seems like they want to tell like this weird story. He was good in Mandalorian season 2 also. I had liked that he was like sort of like this Ronin who was like, I need my armor back. I'm gonna like, and I'll help you out. Like I promise. Like he kind of like, I love that, like that sort of thing. I don't know. I'm just kind of frustrated. Also, a prequel era spaceship and the Mandalorian uses the word wizard as an adjective. That made me so mad. That made me so mad. I don't think you understand. They say wizard once in Phantom Menace, right? Like, oh, that's a wizard, Annie. And then Robot Chicken made fun of it a lot, which is funny. I liked it when Darth Vader was like that.
Doesn't someone called Obi-Wan like old wizard in A New Hope or something?
I think so, but it's like, but like the way being used as like an adjective to describe something cool, I think was only used in Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
That's so wizard, Annie. And I remember, and then again, Robot Chicken used it because it was funny. Where at the end of like the Return of the Jedi parody, Darth Vader before he dies, like that was pretty wizard, and he dies, and like that's good. That's funny that they lock in on that. Fucking Pedro Pascal being like, it's pretty wizard, and I'm like, oh, shut the fuck up.
It's like they're like made up swear words, or it's just like, nah, stop.
Also,
it.
Why is every character so snarky? What are we doing here? Why is Bill Burr in my Star Wars? I think I brought that up to you. I bring that up to you how many times a night where I'm like, I hate seeing Bill Burr. I hate seeing him doing his stupid Boston accent.
He's just Bill Burr.
It's so stupid. You can tell he's having fun. Like you can tell he's enjoying it. I think he wanted to do it, I guess, but it's like, oh my god.
I think the funniest bit of like the funniest reveal from this to me was like, we weren't even talking about the show. We were talking about, I think we were talking about Destiny. And I had texted you some song that like, because we were talking about Redacted Project. And I was like, oh, this song I'd like to use. And then you sent me a Thundercat song. And I was like, hold on.
Oh my god.
Thundercat is in Book of Boba Fett.
Why is he
his Wookiepedia page?
A Ripper Doc from Cyberpunk?
He's a Ripper Doc.
It's so yeah, that was
the modifier.
That made me kind of happy. I'm like, okay, that's sick. He's like, I love Thundercat.
He said that was like a lifelong dream, and that like he had a blast doing it. So I was like, hell yeah.
I can't hate. Now
I need you to know that I'm on Wookiepedia right now, typing in Salacious B. Crumb.
In canon.
Canon. Show me the canon appearances of Salacious Crumb.
I have the Carbon wiki entry you sent me. Don't you worry. Like I am always on this. I clicked and I'm reading like that this dude is supposed to replace Star. Like that's a stupid thing.
Carbon for context for listeners who aren't
in the know.
In the know. Carbon Karbin is a what is
Mon Calamari?
He's a Mon Calamari, kind of like Admiral Akbar, but it's just his head, and then his body is General Grievous's body, and he is so sick. But he's brought in one of the Darth Vader comics as like part of this group that Palpatine recruits, basically to like he basically presents it to Vader as like, if you don't step your game up, one of these people are going to replace you. And so it becomes like this weird,
fish.
Like at work death games between Vader and all these weirdos. And this guy's one of them, and he's so cool.
We were a little late in recording because Matty was like, I'm going to send you the craziest club shit you've ever seen. And then I get a DM from them. I opened this shit up. And I see fucking Carbon, and we just had to talk about Star Wars for like 10-15 minutes before hitting record. We had to sit and talk about the Wookiepedia. We had to talk about
like there's on the Wookiepedia page there is a panel of Carbon, this Mon Calamari with Grievous body, and like he's got this like this like tan like cloak draped over his shoulder with like this gold pin. He's got a purple lightsaber in his left hand, and there's Imperial guards behind him, stormtroopers, and like a Star Destroyer and all these TIE fighters. Just the most like just baller panel ever. It's so good. I gotta reread those comics.
They're so stupid. Reading. Oh my god, Star Wars is dumb, but it's also sometimes pretty good. I can't wait for Carbon to be in a movie.
I think it's kind of like I think the real like joy of it comes from like diving into the weird corners of it and just finding things that will never make it into the movies, and just like getting really into these klepshitos. And like, I mean, my favorite thing from one of my favorite things from the sequel trilogy is a thing that didn't even make it into the movie. It's the Oracle of like Crookback Bog or something. It's like this big spider on a baby head that Kylo Ren was supposed to go speak to get a prophecy, and they had a prop for it and everything. Like you can find pictures of the prop, and it's in the comic books. They like repurposed it for that. and that's like one of my favorite things from the sequels is just this like imagery, because you can kind of like extrapolate this whole backstory on all this stuff. It's almost better when they don't write stuff about it, because it's like, okay, I can imagine cooler things.
Star Wars, again, like when it's dumb, it's great, but when it's dumb, it's also bad. It's like a weird. Again, I told you about like some of the Legends, like Boba Fett comics, where Boba Fett had to go find his half brother, like as a bounty. That was stupid. Like that was dumb. It was the dumbest thing I ever read, but I loved it. It was sick too. Stuff like that. I'm glad to be diving in, but obviously it's been hard, and I'm glad that you kind of understand how dire things are when it comes to fucking Star Wars.
Yeah.
Before
we move on from Star Wars, I'm sending you
oh god,
The Eye of Webbish Bog.
That's
what it's called.
Oh, I love this thing so much.
It's so good.
I love his face. Oh my god.
They cut this. This was supposed to be, the intro in Rise of Skywalker when Kylo Ren is on Mustafar, and they don't explain that it's Mustafar because it's like stuff is regrowing because of the Oculus Quest game that nobody played, and like this was supposed to be part of that sequence, and they cut it. I feel like that sequence would have been way cooler, at least cooler. Maybe not like maybe it would have worked, but like it would have. If it's an oracle and it's supposed to be like giving a vision or something, it could have at least set like a narrative tone for him then going to Exegol to talk to Palpatine. Like as it is, it kind of just starts.
I have to watch that movie again eventually. Like I have to rewatch it at some point, and I'm not looking forward to it because I'm trying to remember. There was nothing in that movie that was good, with the exception of the Chewbacca fake out, like death. Like that's the funniest. That was so funny. It's the funniest thing ever. That, and everyone loves Babu Frick. Fucking hate him. He's annoying as hell, and I hate that he's in the Mandalorian movie. Like,
am I to assume that the Babu Frick in the new movie is the same Babu Frick, or is Babu Frick like an entire species? They all dress like that. They're all that guy.
I'm sure the movie will answer it, or you have to play a Fortnite event to fully grasp the story of the Mandalorian and Grogu. Real quick, do we want to call like the twist or something, or the big reveal? Like, is there something? I brought up that Jar Jar is gonna show up and like talk to Grogu. Like Jar Jar the character, like he will talk to Grogu and like it'll be a whole thing. Or my other thing was Grogu talks and he sounds normal.
What could like the big ending thing be? Because like this is what we're still between, like post Return of the Jedi.
How long does Force Awakens take place after Jedi? It's 20 years.
I'm not sure. And I'm like you watched it more recently than me. There's like a whole plot line in Mandalorian about like they are working on some kind of cloning tech, right?
They're like cloning. They're cloning Grogu. Like that. I think that was the whole thing. My
read on that when I saw it, I don't know if this like tracks, but my read on it when I saw it was that this was like the explanation for like Palpatine's return, was like they were working on a way to
bring him back somehow.
Grogu was probably like part of this to like make a clone that could have midichlorians like basically like funneled into it.
So who do you think they'll bring back then? Pre-Palpatine, like, do you think you have like a botched clone of like, dude? Imagine like
Snoke.
A botched. Oh my god, this is Snoke's birth.
Yo,
this is Snoke. Oh my god, you know what's gonna happen when that gets revealed? I'm gonna be pissed. Also, everything that we say now is just stuff for us to get mad at if it ends up happening.
The thing is, if they went all in on the Exegol stuff, I'd be there, because that was the coolest part of Rise of Skywalker, and they didn't linger on it nearly enough. Like in that final battle when they're in the Coliseum type thing, you get little glimpses of like Sith acolytes in the stands, but the way it's shot and lit, it's kind of hard to get a sense of the scale. But there's like thousands of them, so there's a whole Sith like civilization on Exegol, and they just kind of breeze right past that.
What if they bring back those otters from the Legends continuity, like the giant otter like race.
Yeah, the one that
Or
Han Solo has the fist fight with.
Yeah, that's sick as hell. Give me a giant CG otter, I'll forgive everything. Filoni, I'll forgive you for Filonifying my Star Wars.
Yeah, I'll take it.
What is it? No, Darth Bane shows up. No, Plagueis. Plagueis will show up in a physical. That's what's gonna happen. Grogu has a vision of Plagueis.
They already did that though in
The
Acolyte, and
oh, for real? You mean the Wookiepedia?
yeah, the Acolyte's actually like pretty solid.
I heard, and I want to watch it, but I kind of don't now because it got canceled. So like, what's the point? That's my sort of thing now, where it's like, is there a whole story there that I can like dive into, despite it being cut short?
Kinda, but not really. No, like a lot of that stuff hinged on they left a lot of that stuff in a place where the paradigm shifted at the end of that season, and they were definitely like, you can project where that story was going, and we'll never get that. And then the Plagueis reveal is like literally one of the last things that happens in that season. Is like, oh, he's been watching from the start. This is all part of his scheme. Probably like this probably would have built to like him and the Palpatine stuff that he talks about in the Opera House scene. But we'll just never get that because it was too woke, I guess.
It's too woke. It's funny we finally got like the mythology kind of like expanded on, and Disney had to cut the cord because woke. That's crazy.
I really like that. That's one of those ones that I could see them maybe in a few years when things hopefully are different, being like, let's give it another shot. Because there was really solid bones to that thing. It just didn't get a fair shake, I don't think.
Anyway, no more Star Wars talk. We gotta stop talking about Star Wars. Star Wars is terrible. And then next week, if I ever have you on, like, at a podcast again, we'll probably end up talking about Star Wars. Anyway, Destiny 2: Edge of Fate. It's good. I'm late.
It's good.
It's very good. It's a very good campaign. Maybe the first time I paid attention to the story, like, in a way where it really affected me. Like,
yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. Like, I feel like you were like engaged in it more than any of the other ones. And I was curious what did that for you?
I think it's a more personal story, right? It's like, yeah, there's like the world ending stuff in the background, right? There's like a lot going on, right? The big god, like, let's go fight God stuff and all this stuff. But again, Lodi's story is like really personal and interesting because he's dealing with like, oh, I'm in a new place. Oh, excuse me, I'm like doing all this stuff and it's like all weird to me, and I'm meeting like these guardians and all, and then you get Ikora's like backstory, and it also becomes very personal for her. I really, really appreciated that level of like, let's dive into the characters a little bit. Like, let's make this more character focused rather than story focused, if that makes sense. My only problem with it though is that, again, in this game, you could tell though they were really like strapped for like time and like or whatever or money or like the voice acting stuff, because a lot of the stories told via like text boxes, like, and it's also very non-linear and that really annoying, like, oh, I did this one mission, and you pointed out we did this one mission, but the cutscene and the dialogue feels like we were supposed to do it in a different order. Like,
yeah, they give the first series of like 3 missions, because it's like a Metroidvania style like design philosophy for the whole thing, and they give you 3 missions that you can do in any order. But we did them in the same order I did them on launch day, and that order feels wrong to me because you get a reveal about Lodi towards the end of that then when you move on to the next one, it feels like you've like gone back in time to before that conversation. Like, we'll just spoil it. Spoilers for Edge of Fate. Like, at the end of the kind of like there's like an academic branch where it's like there's the Ionians like school kind of campus, and at the end of it, like, Lodi he knows that he's not on Earth anymore, but he doesn't know when he is. And so like Ikora keeps like referring to the collapse and saying like old Earth, and he kind of like he kind of doesn't address it, and then eventually he's just like, okay, I gotta ask, what the fuck happened? And she explains it to him, and he starts asking like, is my family okay? Like, did my family live a full life, or did they die in like a horrible apocalypse? When did this happen? Like, she's like, well, we've got one city, and he's like, there were hundreds of them. And then you move on to the next one, and that tone reverts back to he's being cagey. He's trying to like keep things under wraps because of Odysseus protocol. So it's just, I feel like the story would have been better served to be more structured linearly.
Again, it doesn't detract too much. The loot pool is okay also. I think this is the first time I'm playing the game for the story, not for the mechanics. Because again, mechanically, I still think Destiny 2 is like leagues above any other shooter on the market. I still think that's the main reason for me to play this game. Like, it's for the gameplay. And of course the social aspect. I do like staying up until 2 or 3 in the morning on a what is it, on a work night, because we just had to do one more portal op, which we haven't done in a while. We got to jump back in. I'm kind of itching for like an actual like level. No, hold up real quick, like sidetrack. You kind of put this in my head. We got to do a dungeon, because now I'm thinking about the Dark Saber in the Renegade.
Oh yeah, we got to do Equilibrium more. Yeah,
because I read I was looking up all the drops, and I'm like, oh man, what? But I was really frustrated that first time we did it, so obviously I needed time from it. But yo, Edge of Fate, it's good. Destiny 2, it really is one of the greatest games of all time. It really is. There's no way around it. It's a near perfect shooter that's like bogged down by like baggage that it cannot shake unless it like it I think this game needs to like, it needs to die so that something else can like come out of it, whether it's a sequel or maybe a big reset. I don't know, because in its current
not
state,
to be obnoxious, but that is literally like that is Edge of Fate. The whole story is like,
yeah,
Earth is dead. How do we bring something new out of this? Like, how do we salvage this? Like the Traveler is like, starts as like a dead thing, and it's like, how do we like move on from this point when it seems like everything is kind of broken and like impossible to repair? So I think that's kind of like an interesting like real life parallel with like the development and the story.
If I'm telling you, if like Destiny 3 came out tomorrow, I'd be all over it, no matter what. I'd commit to everything. I guess we'll see, but it's like, it's one of those things. I can't recommend this game to anybody. Me personally, no, I can't.
Not in this current state.
I'd be like, okay, yeah, if you have a sicko friend who's willing to like sit with you and like explain how everything works, and also, can you download Dim on your phone? No, hold up, just download it, bro, please. Please, bro, please.
Just give it your login info. It's fine.
It's fine. Just play it. No, don't play Marathon. Don't.
I was curious. One thing he pointed out was like, so Lodi he's like a translator for the 9. He's like their newest emissary, and they specifically choose him. I think that at one point they say like, you are the only person for like eons across the timeline who is qualified for this job of translating for the 9, which are like, for people who don't know, they're not the planets, but they are consciousness that's like trapped in the gravity well of the planets, and so like they're inextricably tied to them. So like 1 is Mercury, 3 is Earth, 4 is Mars, and like that connection to the celestial body has like kind of shaped their personalities, but they don't know how to communicate with humans, and that's like been a recurring through line through all of Destiny, is like them finding different ways to reach out. Xur is like their first prototype at that, and then Orin, who is like the emissary for the Forsaken era. And they're like always trying to find ways to like basically escape, kind of similar to Durandal, like escape their current mode of being and become something new, that like they can exist, because they can't exist in the world of matter. Like they can only exist as dark matter.
Right.
So this is like the culmination of like 12 years of very quiet like storytelling about them, and Lodi is kind of like the person to do that, because he grew up in a trilingual household. He grew up in I don't think he grew up in Chicago. I think he's from Michigan originally, but he worked in Chicago. And his mother, I believe, his mother's side of the family is German, which we'll talk about at one point. And then his father's side is, they speak Spanish, but they don't say specifically where. and that was something that you specifically were like thought was interesting and kind of resonated a
We
bit.
don't
How
have a
do you
lot
think
of
they handled that?
great. We don't have a lot of great Latino representation in games. And I've written about this before, and I've kind of looked at it, especially in big AAA games. Who do we have that's not like a drug dealer or a murderer? Look at Cyberpunk. It's like the most like egregious, like disgusting portrayal of like people of color. Star Wars Outlaws was a big one, but that game like kind of bombed. What Life is Strange 2. Far Cry 6 wasn't great either. So it's like, okay, cool that Bungie, a studio I like and respect, kind of like found a way to make like, and again, I kind of identify with a lot of like Lodi. Like I what is it? My mom's American, my dad's Colombian. But my mom's like family is like Colombian, so I kind of identify with a lot of like, oh, okay, that sort of like mix. I speak both English and Spanish. I can't roll my R's for shit, but I speak both fluently, and that's like a big thing. Like again, I grew up like immersed in that sort of world. They kind of like do tackle a lot of it. Again, most of the stuff is delivered via like lore tabs, like on like weapons menus, like screen, like
Yeah.
that's you've been sending me that. So it's a shame like I can't really get this in the game, but from what I've read, really good. Like I like it. I do think he's good representation. I think he's a great character in general, right? Like he's like a good new addition to like a cast that's like been kind of like well rounded out, right? He's not like cynical, but he's also not stoic / like kind of robotic, because like all the other Guardians are very like they kind of speak like Elder Scrolls like NPCs at times, right? Or like they belong in like a high fantasy kind of deal, like I'm still thinking about Destiny 1 Zavala that moves like the Abraham Lincoln animatronic from Disney World. When you go talk to him, he kind of like leans forward, leans back, moves his hands like a robot. It's really weird, but it's like Lodi. I kind of like that he's just like, no, he's just a normal guy that got kind of like screwed up, like screwed over completely.
Yeah.
I like him. I think he's fascinating, and I liked him a lot in Renegades too, right? That was my first exposure because I played Renegades first. I mean, we have to, it's Star Wars. So I jumped into that one, but I'm glad I was able to see him kind of be fleshed out a little bit.
Yeah, he's super cool, and like I think the thing I like about him is that if you like really pay attention to the lore from the beginning to like Final Shape, you'll pick up on like references to things pre-Golden Age that we would know, but most of the time it's so divorced of context because of the nature of the collapse and everything. Like the people in the current like timeline of Destiny really don't have anything to draw from to understand pre-Golden Age, like how we would have lived basically. And so Lodi being from like the 60s, it kind of gives you this like he's stepping into this world, and so he can look at things from a different angle and be like, hey, that's weird, but also that is representative of, or clearly an evolution of, this thing that existed in my time. So like, and like the one that really like hit me pretty good was like he meets Saint 14 at one point, and he kind of like panics hearing Russian, because he was like a government operative during the Cold War, so he was like, used to being on his guard around, if he was ever around Russian people, he was spying on them. And he kind of has this moment of like, oh shit, but then he realizes like none of that matters, it's all gone, and he starts speaking Russian to Saint, and they make that connection, and he asks Saint, he's like, so in my time, like our people were at war, what do you know what happened with that? And Saint's like, no clue. Moda's like, well, I guess that's fine. And like it's just this cool, like he feels like a character purpose built to like be like a facilitator of like discussion, and like I mean, for the Nine explicitly, he is a negotiator basically, because there's two factions of the Nine, and he's like, he kind of isn't taking sides, he's made to facilitate that conversation. So like as someone who's like really interested in the writing and the lore, I'm interested to see what they do with him in that way, because there's a lot of other facets of Destiny outside of the 9, like the Traveler specifically, where communication being a barrier for understanding is like something that could be solved by somebody like him. So like he could end up being like the means by which the Traveler can finally like speak, because the losing the speaker during the Red War was like a very deliberate choice, and then they've kind of revisited that over the years of like, we don't really have anybody that it can speak to anymore. And like even when it spoke to the speaker, he just got visions and stuff. He didn't get words from it. And like if you read lore from the Traveler's perspective, it's clear that it's not the god that people think it is. It's like more of kind of a scared, confused thing that's like, I don't like, it's running from something.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of has something in its own nature that it doesn't like. So, and where like I sent you the thing from Renegades the other day where like Lodi is dreaming about his family, which is like a recurring thing. He keeps thinking about his family and like he wants to like hold on to the memory of them and keep them alive in spirit, because he finds that important, which is like a big through line like thematically in Destiny. But then he starts like dreaming from the perspective of this like chimera thing, and they call it like the heaving shadow of all living things, and it's something that is under Chicago currently. And like my read on that is like it's something connected to the Veil and the Traveler. It's like a third piece probably. So I'm hoping that's where they're building, where he's like, he will be able to reconcile these differences between the light and the dark, and like reforge that connection. And that would, metatextually in the community, that would spark a lot of conversations lore wise about like, okay, well, what did we miss this whole time that was like right in front of us? So he's just such an interesting character, and the actor's like very cool. He streamed, I think, all of the campaigns and some raids.
Banana papaya.
Yeah. God. Yeah. It makes me excited. Like for all the like the fear around the future of Destiny. I think like revisiting Edge of Fate with you has made me like just really excited for Shattered Cycle, specifically because like you're excited about the Chicago connection. That's something I've been thinking about for years, because old Chicago was like originally meant to be in D1.
They waited for Pope Leo to get like insane.
Yes.
Like, all right, now we can do this.
Yeah, like let's call our shot now. I don't think they'll like, name Pope Leo, but I think there is enough interest in spirituality and like religion and like the historical aspect of things that I think there will be like at least one cheeky nod to it in if it's Shattered Cycle that Chicago shows up in, it'll be in that.
No, you're thinking too small. Zavala becomes Pope.
Let's go. That's my Pope.
Oh man, it's good. I'm enjoying it overall. Like I think it's still like a great game, and the story's finally clicking. I posted like a couple nights ago, like I'm now into like build crafting for the first time. Anyway, I'm build crafting for the first time. I gotta cut that out. And I'm like actually min-maxing and doing all this stuff and like optimizing my armor on dim. Like that's ridiculous. Why am I doing that? Like what, you know what I'm saying? If it's like one of those things where it's like, man, I'm really, really, really like enjoying what I've been playing. It's fun. I'm probably gonna log on after this. Like it's that sort of thing where it's like, I want to play Destiny 2. Like I got the Boba Fett Mandalorian skins. Like that's how deep I am in the trenches. The thing I told you, I'm not gonna do that. I would never do that. Never gonna do that. And then
I would never buy the Boba Fett skin
for my second character.
He's cooked.
Anyway, in that vein, man, we talked too much about fucking Destiny 2. It's funny though, because I have not been playing any other games. I've been kind of jumping around with the Starfield stuff. Real quick, you and I, and I talked about this in the first episode of this show, where it's like, my backlog is huge, and I feel like I'm always constantly jumping around stuff. Cody and I kind of like dug deep into like that last week. I talked to Sam about burnout with video games in general, and then of course you were always texting me, oh, this is good, this game I'm playing, and then the next day like, oh, this is also good, this other game I'm playing. Why do we keep doing that? Like, why are we jumping around so much? Like, what do you think it is? Aside from like maybe whether, well, I'll let you kind of like dive into it if you want.
I don't know. I think I've always it's always been a bad habit of mine where I'll start something and it'll make me think of something else, and I'm like, I actually want to go play that instead. And then I never finish anything. But lately, it's been more about like the way things contrast with each other. Like, and I think like branching out of just games has helped. Like watching more movies, reading more has helped. Because if you like, once you start to identify the themes and the ideas that you really like are interested in, and you can find them in different things, like playing something and then reading something at the same time and then watching something can create like those things in concert can create like a really interesting new meaning that none of them as a singular thing could give you. But like I got a book about fungi called Entangled Life. I got the illustrated edition. I've been meaning to read it forever. Like I'm excited to read that because it's interesting and I'm interested in fungi, but also like the amount of like sci-fi and horror that uses fungal imagery. I'm like really interested to see like, okay, how do the real things about fungi that I'm going to learn here, how will those change my perception of, things like the flood or egregore fungus or stuff from Annihilation or just like tons of different things. Or Toad from Mario, I don't know. But like, it's just like, I think like sometimes people approach things as though like everything is a contained thing. Nothing, like Star Wars is its own thing. Destiny's its own thing. Like if you go read a book about World War II, that's its own thing. Like, and once you kind of start to make an effort to draw the connections between things, it becomes like a really rich like experience where you just want to keep digging more and more and more to be like, oh, but like if this, I went down a rabbit hole about anglerfish the other day, and immediately I log in at Weekly Reset. There's an anglerfish ghost shell in Destiny, and I'm like, yeah, it was fucking weird, and I was just like, huh, and then that made me think of the things I had learned about the anglerfish. Like it wasn't anything deep, but it was like an interesting kind of connection to make, and it made me want to go back and read more about anglerfish, find things that I've seen about them in the past and like go back and revisit them to see if did I miss something, would I understand it more now. So I think that's like lately why I jump between stuff so much. It's just like no one thing is going to give you everything, but a lot of things, the right combination of things combined can become something really rich and interesting.
I think my thing is I'm always trying to find the right thing to play at the right time, right? And I always feel bad wasting time. Like I spent my days off playing like Destiny and like other like grindy like multiplayer games or something, and I feel like, I should have probably played a single player game, right? Probably gotten through like a campaign or something. Like it's that sort of thing, and I keep jumping between stuff. Like I don't know what's the right thing to start. I sent you a picture. I deleted everything off my SSD on my PlayStation because I'm like, I went
you
back.
Sent me like 30 in the queue.
No, those pictures weren't. That's not the queue. That's me deleting everything. That was me like.
I thought that was you downloading stuff. I was like,
no. That was me deleting everything. I kept like Starfield. What else? And like a few other. Obviously, I kept Destiny too because duh. I kept that kind of stuff, and I'm just kind of like now. Okay, what do I do? What do I want to play? Do I part of me wants to like start up. Oh, maybe I should replay the Jedi games just to kind of like get. I'm in the Star Wars mood. I'm like watching the shows and I'm reading like the comics. I don't know what to do. I've been in a reading funk too, which is bad. Like I can't sit down and read something, so I'm like, maybe I should like get ease. I'd probably read like another EU novel, like an old one, right? Ease my way myself back into it, right? Because I did the Project Hail Mary audiobook, and I'm like, oh, it's pretty fun, but I don't want to get used to audiobooks either. It's like I'm in a very weird headspace with it. So I guess it's like for me, it's like I don't know what to do. I don't know how to like. I also been thrown off my entire routine. I haven't been like journaling as much as I want to anymore. What is it? Little inside baseball. Like I'm kind of back in that. Well, actually, no. I'll save that part for like your question / topic. But it's like all this stuff. It's like I don't know where to begin. Right. There's stuff I don't want to start because of like the right time. Like I want to play Space Marine 2, but I also want to play that in co-op with you. Right. I want to get back into like the Division 1 or 2, but my partner just got a PlayStation, and the two of us want to like I want to play that with her just to like experience that game kind of the way it's supposed to be played. I want to go play something like I don't know, what is it? No Man's Sky just like updated. Like I want to play that, but then I'm like I kind of need a guide for that too, so I gotta wait till Matty can like play it. There's like things like that where it's just like oh I wanted to start up an Assassin's Creed game. Right, or something grindy, but it's like of substance because it's not an online or a live service game. But then we're getting the resync, like for Black Flag out. I'm like, I don't want to burn myself out either. It's a weird thing. Like my mind is like in a weird spot right now. So I don't know what to do in that. In that regard, it's like, and there's like nothing coming out that I'm interested in the next like until July with like Assassin's Creed because what I already said, like Forza's not coming out on a console I own or that I want to use. That Halo remake still doesn't have like a date. The Bond game, as sold as I am on it with the theme song, I don't even. I'm still not 100% sure I'll get it right. So it's like I'm in a weird spot right now. Like I guess that's sort of like.
I've kind of had that struggle for like years where it's like you feel like you need the perfect time to like watch or play or read something, and I feel like what helped me with that was like getting more okay with starting things, and then if it's not vibing, just put it aside and like come back to it some other time.
That's what my partner told me. Like she was like, just do it. Who cares? Like if you don't like it, you don't like it. Like whatever. And like I did buy a 2 terabyte SSD for like that reason, but it's like.
And I think you've got to like pick a thing. Excuse me. Pick a thing that you're in the mood for. And give it a fair shake, as opposed to picking a huge swath of things and then being like, oh, I'm gonna like sample these like it's a a platter. Like you kind of got to be like, what do I want right now? I'll give this thing a shot, and like if something in it speaks to you, but that thing itself doesn't, then like try to find something like just give yourself like a nudge to something related, but like in a different angle. I think there's like a paralysis almost to like, oh my god, I gotta be doing something, I gotta like play the latest thing, or I gotta like play the popular thing at the right time. And it's like, nah, like you'll do what feels right, and then that thing eventually will lead you to the other thing eventually, probably like down the line, when the time is right. Like I think like our friend JT has a similar I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, he has a similar issue where it's like download a dozen things, don't finish any of them because it feels like there's this obligation to like I gotta, well, everybody else is playing this or everybody else is talking about this, and it kind of
that you brought him up, now he's gonna ask again for us to hop on Marathon at some point. Now we gotta get back to Marathon. We gotta get. That's another thing. I can't play. I haven't played Marathon either. Like it's like, well, like the main
There's
thing.
Too much stuff. But yeah, like, and I think once you get into the mentality of like, the right time for this thing will come when it's the right time. Like, it feels a lot better to like find like with Starfield. Like I obviously I started playing it with a big update. But like I feel like it was also I needed that time to like sit and think on my first interaction with it to come to the place where I was like ready to play it the way that I'm enjoying it now. And if I had like forced that by being like, well, I gotta play it at launch, I gotta, just power through and make myself miserable, even though I don't like it, I never would have given it the second shot.
I think the main thing that's helped is like this podcast isn't about me playing everything. It's more so me reflecting on what I'm doing now. The only thing that's kind of already giving me issues is I need footage for the YouTube, like the video side of it. So that's how I'm kind of like, oh, okay, I need to play this because I need footage of it. But now even then, I'm like, I built a good enough pool. If you guys don't like FPS gameplay, sorry, like that's what I've got. But yeah,
what you're getting yourself into at this point.
You know what it is. Anyway, you had a good question for me. If you want to go ahead and ask it, because this is a good conversation right here. We're cooking right now.
Yeah, I guess this is kind of in conversation with like the whole premise of the podcast. Like, so I feel like even in the last couple months, the way you have like talked about how you engage with just like media at large has changed. How do you think it's changed, and is there a direction that you like want to go, like whether it's like habits or just like a state of mind or whatever, like a direction you want to push further into?
I'm gonna tell two quick stories about that. So first, I got a big promotion back in 23, and I was working night, like it was like that 11 to 8 shift, which I hate, but whatever. And I worked like essentially like 45 minutes away from home without traffic. So I would get home at like 8:30, 8:45, and I was like, I only have time for one thing. Do I play video games or watch a movie? So I would usually watch a movie because obviously it's easier. And unless I was reviewing something, like when I got the Red Dead 1 like PS5 port, like I started playing that like instead. But I would watch a movie every night, something that was between 90 minutes to like 100 minutes, and I would just kind of like dig into that. So that's sort of what I would do. I don't watch TV, and then I wasn't watching like YouTube stuff as heavily around that time. Then I decided I'm gonna get into basketball again because it had been a while, and the Heat had just like lost in the finals to the Nuggets the summer right before. So I'm like, let me fresh start. Let's see what's going on. All this stuff. Got into football. Got into baseball. I told that part like on the pod before. So then it became sports for a bit, where I was just like, what do I do at night, right before bed? Do I play video games, watch a movie, or watch like a basketball game, a regular season basketball game that'll make me mad? So I did that. I stopped playing online shooters, which was like a big part of like my diet of like gaming, and that, like we talked about that. And again, I'd occasionally get back on, like you and I started playing Destiny 2 semi seriously in 2024, right? And then after a long break, we stopped, and then we kind of picked it up again when Renegades came. No, sorry, before Renegades. We told the story. I told it before. No, I'm not gonna belabor it. I feel like that sort of changed because now I'm back. I'm in a weird place right now where I'm like, I'm reading books instead of watching movies. I'm watching TV, which I've never done because I'm watching the Star Wars stuff, and I had started like Fallout earlier this year too. Like I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm listening to more podcasts. And I'm also watching YouTube videos. I was like watching a Corey's Datapad like Star Wars lore video right before we hopped on this call. And you were asking me like what I was watching it on. It was about like Palpatine's like minions before like that. Anyway, it's like that sort of thing. The other side of that is recently I'm taking weight loss like meds, right? So Zepbound. What this does is and again, I know they're kind of controversial. I understand. So forgive me for kind of like going in on it, but it's like my whole thing is what they do is they kind of stop that noise that makes you want to like eat like more than you should. When you're full, you're full, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've been in this thing where it's like all this anxiety I used to have that would kind of force me to like snack on something, gone. What do I fill that sort of like empty space with? All right, let me get back into video games. I've gone back into online shooters. I've gotten back into like Destiny 2 has been like the hamster wheel because it's like if I'm not eating, I need something to do. So I'm just drinking water and playing Destiny 2. Every morning I go to the gym at about like between 4:30 to like 6 a.m. like depending on the type of day I'm gonna like on the type of like shift that I'm gonna have. That's what I do right before work. And at the gym, I'll either listen to an audiobook or listen to a podcast. So I feel like now I'm in a weird spot where it's like I'm trying to like consume everything. My relationship is more so I video games. I love video games, but now they're they're mostly social. I mostly play online stuff with like you or some other friends. TV I've started kind of getting into, but it's mostly like Star Wars stuff. Same thing with books. This is like me getting back into reading, but it's mostly like with sci-fi and things like that. I rarely watch movies anymore. I still haven't. I've gone to the movies like twice to like watch, like I think I saw Send Help and Project Hail Mary, and nothing else. The direction I want to push that, I don't know. I don't know what's kind of like left for me. I want to keep reading more. I want to read comics more again. Like I think my new goal is to start reading the old Star Wars comics, the old Marvel run from the 70s and 80s. Maybe
Nice.
that'll be a project, but like as of now, you know what? I don't know if this counts, but I want to write again. Like I want to write. That's the sort of thing. It's just that's the one thing I can't do. I can edit the pod, I can edit the video, and I can do all this stuff. I can write the descriptions, and I can write like a nice little letter introducing it. But I can't sit down and write blog posts, even though I have like a bunch of ideas that I've drafted. I think that's sort of where I want to push myself. But other than that, I kind of feel like I found the kind of perfect mix of like, all right, we're in the middle. We're like 25 games into like the regular baseball season. I've been watching baseball on and off, both in person, like I've gone to Lone Depot Park here in Miami to go see the Marlins play, and then I've watched like games on like my iPad while playing like some grindy thing in the background. I try not doing that either, right? I try to kind of like stay focused, but it's hard. I think I texted you that I was like watching clips of like Coachella set while playing Crucible in Destiny 2.
Nice.
So things like that, like of that sort of like, that's sort of where I am. I don't know how you define that relationship. I guess now it's like it's video games and movies and shows or all this stuff is kind of filling the void that food left. And I don't know if that's healthy necessarily. I don't know if it's healthy that I'm like, okay, I've stopped eating. I've cut sugar and carbs. I guess I should go grind for purple stuff in Destiny 2, or gold, right? So I don't know.
Yeah.
But this is a good question though, because I've sort of have been focusing on that a lot. I think I've been posting about that, my relationship to video games, especially. Marathon kind of like repaired a lot of like my issues with online shooters. And I feel like I'm kind of healing again. Me and Star Wars have like, it's become this thing where it's like you told me about it. I gotta let go of the shame. I gotta like kind of like just enjoy things, right? Yeah. And I kind of have. I've been unabashedly like talking about this thing that I used to love, while also being like, oh man, the Marlins pissed me off because they lost one of 162 regular season baseball games. Like it's that sort of thing where it's like I'm doing whatever I like, whatever I want for the first time in like however long, right? This is what I want to do. This is what I'm happy with. If you don't like it, don't listen to this podcast. That's pretty much what it is.
Good place to be. Like, find like, I feel like you're still in your 20s. When let's just say 20s.
You're the wise old sage right now.
Me 3 weeks into being 30. Yeah. No,
smoking your pipe.
Yeah, Master Gormo. No, it feels like there was like a time where I was like, oh, I need to be plugged into everything. I need to know everything about everything. And now it's like, I kind of like knowing my lane, like knowing what I'm interested in, and like trying to like get more specific about, okay, like what parts, why do I like this stuff? What part of it do I like? Okay, let's read more about that. Like, and just kind of like going with the flow of like, are these topics leading me? How can I like expand my knowledge base about this stuff in a way that's enriching to the smaller, like everyday things, and also the like, the bigger things that I'm engaging with. So I think it seems like a pretty healthy way to be. Like it's a lot more healthy than like chasing the zeitgeist of like everyone's playing this thing that I don't give a shit about, but I feel like I got to be a part of the conversation. So honestly, I think a lot of that's tied up in like online discourse, and like stepping back from that's been really healthy.
I've stopped that. Even when I was like writing like old blogs, like I was like trying to play every little thing, and it's like that's not fun either. I don't like every little thing, or it's like I don't know. Like this pod is supposed to be about why we play, not what we're playing. And I feel like a lot of the conversations I've had a lot of good people on, a lot of friends, and those conversations are very like, oh yeah, like they've been eye opening because it's like, you know, we all like different things, but we all kind of think the same way about those different things, and I really think that like that sort of influence and kind of shaped the way I look at like the things I like now, right? Look, I get it. Not everyone's gonna like not everyone's gonna like sports the same way I do at this point in my life, right? At the very least, like my social circle, my immediate circle, it's that sort of thing, or you know, and I'm sure you get this too. It's like you and I kind of have like obsessive personalities in with when it comes to like certain things.
A little bit,
but it yeah, but it's also it's like no, but they not that they define us, but it's like they're a big part of like our lives in some interesting ways. It's like, you know, I like certain video games or whatever. I like certain things because like they're a big part of like why I kind of am what I am now, right? Destiny 2 obviously being a big thing for you, right? Or it's like for me it's like, oh, my what is it, my comfort games have always been racing games, right? Because I distinctly remember what is it when both like back to back, both my grandma dying in 24 and my dog dying in 25, the first games I spun up after in like whatever slight depression or like break from video games was like, oh, I'm gonna play a racing game that I have in my backlog because it's like the thing that I can kind of connect with, right? And so on and so forth. You know, it's like the online marathon was like the most fun I had because multiple friends were like getting on with me at the same time. Different friend groups were all playing this game, and it's like that sort of thing kind of defines like why these things matter, right? Or even if it's something stupid as like you and I just going back and forth making the stupid ass Bungie like references to everything. It's become a thing where it's like I can't see the word ring because I'm like, oh, the Halo ring, yeah, of course. Of course.
Well, like the sports thing, like I don't think I'm ever gonna be big into sports, but like see, it's cool to like get a window into that world and like
explaining LeBron's like entire career to you in the middle of us playing Edge of Fate, like
and like understand like the the media ecosystem around it, see how all the gambling bullshit connects to it and how that ripples out in bigger ways. Like it's, even if I'm not like invested in the sport, there's stuff that you've shared with me that I'm like has been interesting and that I've taken on and been able to use elsewhere, which is cool. That kind of like interchange is really neat.
I'm glad though we have Cash Patel in common. I think that's where we'll end the conversation.
Get the battering ram.
Cash Patel is the unifying force behind it. All this. What is it? He's the key to all this.
Oh my god.
Oh man, you talked a lot about that Fungi book already. And you know, I know that you're looking for. Is there anything else you want to like push that you're like kind of looking forward to?
I got mostly books that I've bought that I'm like, I'm mostly saying them here so that I like have some kind of accountability. Basically, like I got The Secret Life of Octopus by Cy Montgomery. What was the other one? I got Strange Houses, which is a novel. Strange Houses by Uketsu. I bought that, which my partner's read all three of those. They're a Japanese mystery horror novel that's like really focused on like architecture and stuff, it seems. And those just recently got translated and they've been like hugely popular. So I'm gonna try to give that one a shot too. So mostly books. I'm trying to like, with the games, I'm trying to like just stick with, Starfield, Tainted Grail, and then whatever you and I are playing co-op, like, and limit it to that until I'm done with some things.
I think games, I don't even want to talk about it. At this point, it's like I'll see wherever the chips may fall, right? Because like I cleared my PS5 with the exception of like Destiny and then a few other stray ones. Books wise, again, I'm in a funk. I did order, what did I order? I ordered the second book in the Mandalorian Wars trilogy because I'm like, all right, I got to go back to my good friend Boba Fett.
I'm gonna know your history.
My fat bald son, Boba Fett. I ordered the first X-Wing book, which I've never read the series, and everyone obviously says they're good. And I think I'm gonna do a deep dive into like. So I started reading like the Bounty Hunter like comics, the Disney ones. Not great. I did the first volume. I don't know if I'm gonna stick with it, but I think I'm going to like try like doing like the entire run of like the Marvel Star Wars comics from the old ones from like the 70s and 80s, because like Boba Fett gets introduced there in some cool ways. There's some insane story. I love old comics. I love old cosmic like stuff, like old space weirdo comics. Like I love that, and especially like Star Wars is like perfect. Let me see whatever weird characters they introduce. It's like a Green Rabbit on some of the covers that I want to know what his deal is. Things like that.
Yeah, because like prequels, it was
the Wild
wow.
West.
Like, yeah, they were doing whatever the fuck they wanted.
What I'm like what is it like? There was like the big push, like weird like multimedia pushes. Like Shadows of the Empire was like a big deal. Like that was like the next big story in Star Wars. We don't get that anymore, right?
Yeah, at that point, George was just like, I don't really care. It seemed like he was basically like
he was sketching Jar Jar, and he was like, yeah, I know what I have to do.
Yeah, like he was planning the prequels in some way, but mostly just like making money off the residuals of merch and shit.
So that's where I'm at. I'm like, I'm gonna keep diving into stuff. I'm watching so many video essays. I think that's what I want to get into, like the long form video essays on like game. We talked about this. Like our YouTube algorithm's always like an hour-long video game thing, and we're like, is that gonna like cause any psychic damage if we click play on it? I don't know.
Anybody who's like kind of worn out on YouTube and hasn't watched any Jacob Geller stuff, I would say, go watch it, because he I think he said he's got a new video going up this week, and he mentions like one video game, and that has really like helped me kind of like balance my video game relationship more, where it's like he has a way of talking. Like he has a video essay called Dark Souls 3 is Thinking of Ending Things, where he compares like the Dark Souls series with the movie I'm Thinking of Ending Things, and of course he talks about the book, and like just like really fascinating like sense of how these disparate things can connect. And then sometimes he does like deep dives on like fear of the cold, fear of the ocean, and then sometimes he'll just have one that's just straight up like Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance is fucking sick, right? Or like Dead Space 2, amazing game. And like they're all great. So yeah, definitely would recommend those.
Yeah, I gotta check them out in general. Anyway, we've talked for 2 hours almost.
I'm pretty sure when we started, we were like, we're gonna make this a quick one.
I don't think so either. I don't think we're that delusional either. Real quick before we go, Poggle the Lesser. Anyway, Matty, where can people find you? On if you want to be found,
just questlog.bsky.social. I don't understand how the Bluesky like dot things work. Do you need to say the Bsky social, or is it just
you have to say it?
So it's questlog.bsky.social.
Good. You don't want to get blocked by that AI, the anti-AI guy or whatever.
No, I got to stay on his good side.
Me too. I don't want to. I don't want them to banish me to the shadow realm of Bluesky. You can find me wherever. Like, just read the description, please. Anyway, Matty, thanks again for being here. I'm glad we were able to talk again, as if we never do.
Mm-hmm.
This is supposed to be.
I'll talk to you on the next episode, and never between.
Yeah, what is it? We're doing this as like a show. It's we're not really that tight outside. It's just us doing it for the viewers at home. And then meanwhile I'm sending you you're sending me Mon Calamari. Oh man. Anyway, thanks for listening, Matty. Thanks again.
Thanks for having me.
We'll catch you soon. Bye.